And welcome back. It's been a minute. It's been a spell, but we are back. This is Iron Sharpen Iron, Men at the Round Table. I am your host, Minister Kevin Britt, and my co-host, my brother, my pastor, Pastor Eric Zetlin. I tell you, and my wife,
All right.
Lady D. Rollins Britt.
Lady D, that's right.
Sister Strengthening Sisters. But man, I have an extraordinary guest tonight. This young man, I consider him a young man. He's my brother. I tell you, I look at boxers on TV. I've been to one professional match in Atlantic City, but that was many moons ago. I just happened to win some tickets. But to actually see,
Yes.
to actually feel, to actually hold the championship belt, man, that thing is heavy, bruh. But my guest tonight, man, I want to introduce to not only to the community, but I want to introduce you to the world. Brother Shimon Alvarez, Senior, ex-NABO boxing champion. Listen, if you guys have heard of this young man, I'm pretty much sure you have. I'm pretty much sure you've seen him on national television on the boxing network. He has not only a history, he has something to share with the community, young folks. You know, how did you get? First of all, it's a pleasure having you here, brother.
No, it's
because
a
when I met you that night, I was doing a platform that night, and the platform that we were doing was it's a fixed fight.
Yes.
And I tell you, if no one knows, they'll know tonight. But the sermon was it's a fixed fight.
Right.
See, fixed fight can be naturally, a fixed fight can be spiritually.
Yep.
And in this setting, we're talking about a fixed fight in a spiritual nature.
Yes.
You know, because God said, even though the fight is fixed, I'm going to turn it around for your good. So I thank the Lord for not only allowing me to meet you, to conversate, but man, look, we're back together again.
I know, it's good.
And
It's good,
so
yes.
listen. So tell the people, what got you interested in boxing? What got you interested in it? Where did you begin? Where did it take you? And look at you now. So I mean, tell us what ignited your spirit in your mind to say, this is what I want to do in life?
Well, what ignited my spirit to do it, I was 18, got in a little mess, and got into the gym. And the gym, the Atlantic City Pal is what I got into. The Atlantic City Pal, Coach Michael Bailey, Bill Johnson, Lavanda Johnson, Arnold Robbins. Those guys helped me find what I needed to do and what I was good at. So through training, getting beat up, beating people up, and learning the craft, I was 19, 20, 21 years old, traveling all over America for free. You know, seeing the world, seeing people, seeing things going on, learning stuff, understanding that I didn't understand it fully back then. You know, it's not about colors. It's not about that. You know, I mean, yes, it does play into some things, but that's not what it's about. Um, so you know, I started fighting, was winning. I did well. Won some Golden Glove titles, some national titles, placed in state finals, things of that sort. So Arnold was like, "Hey, look, you're here now. You're at the age. I think I was actually pretty old when I turned. Not old, but I was older. I turned pro when I was 25. So like I boxed amateur for like 5-6 years, and so Arnold was just like, "Hey man, it's time. You know, if you want to do it, it's up to you. You want to?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm beating these boys up. Might as well get a paycheck for it, you know." And then bang, then there it is. I got the first knockout. I think the second win, then a knockout. Then I just started winning, and just the people I met, man, just the traveling around and seeing different people as an amateur, as a pro, and like not having to worry about anything at all. No, this is before the children.
Because you got to be conditioned so much.
Oh, yeah.
You got to, and
Yeah.
I'm not talking about just physical condition. I'm
yeah.
talking about mental.
Yeah.
I'm talking about spiritual.
Yes.
And definitely you got, now we're coming to the physical part.
Yeah.
Because if these things are not incorporated,
No.
if they're not implemented into your life, it's not going to work.
It's not going to work.
And that's a question that I was going to ask you. How do one prepare themselves before the physical?
Well, you got to decide to want to do it. You got to decide to not hang out. You got to decide to like not hang out with your friends. You gotta choose to go through Jerusalem. You know what I'm saying? And just not. You want that cupcake. You want that extra bite. You want that extra sip of water. Things of that sort. You don't wanna spar. You don't want to get beat up today, and you got to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like it's silly. So it's those kind of things. And then it's just like understanding the importance of putting in the hard work, because like the hard work, when you do it how you're supposed to, it actually doesn't become. It's not hard. It's just work that's hard that you do for the sport.
I've seen a lot of guys, boxers, and I see the extensive training.
Oh yeah.
The intensifying those moments of retracting themselves from the world.
Yeah.
Because you have to do that.
Yes.
You have to extricate yourself away from society to mentally get yourself prepared, spiritually get yourself
Yes.
prepared, and physically get yourself prepared. Because once you step into that ring, if you don't have all three of these corporate in itself, you can get killed.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, you can. Yes, you can die. And you were saying something, and I lost my thought. With the preparation, you just have to learn to isolate yourself. Your friends, it comes down to your choices, your decisions. You have to make your mind up. You have to make your mind up so your brain can follow what you're supposed to do. If you know you're not supposed to eat that, don't eat that. Don't drink that. Don't drink that. If you got to run that extra to lose weight, you have to. And, that comes back to isolating yourself. Like, I facilitate the Brother to Brother Boys Mentoring Program down in Atlantic City. Shalanda Austin, she is my umbrella. She's in my care mentoring. Here we are here. Here's our Brother to Brother. We're the Brother to Brother Boys Mentoring Program. She is in my care mentoring program. And I, the important part is like with Brother to Brother and in my care, I can't speak 100% for Miss Austin. However, I think that she and I gallivant around the same thing. You got to not follow your peers, and that's primarily what we want to that's what it all comes down to become a pianist, astronaut, doctor, lawyer, pastor, whatever. You can be the best Wawa attendant ever. You just have to learn to isolate yourself. You can't stay up late and do
See,
stuff.
it's hard, Simone. It's hard for the youth today because we were talking back there, and when you are influenced
Yep.
by your peers,
Yep.
what happens is that if you don't do it, then you're a punk.
Yeah.
Or if you don't do it, you're a sissy. So to get around all those barriers, to get around all those things that will hinder you from moving forward, because if I listen, if I don't do it, then I'm going to be looked upon as weak.
Right.
But if I do it, I'm going to be looked upon as surviving those moments.
Or fitting in. Yeah.
Or fitting in. Yeah.
Yeah.
I tell you, man, I commend you because I know there
Thank you.
were days, I know there were times, weeks, months that you had to literally shut
Yeah.
the world down
Yeah,
in order to
everything.
prepare.
Yeah, everything. I mean, I had to shut everything down, man. I mean, going out to eat, movies, just staying up late, not working a double shift, leaving work on time to be at the gym on time, being on time to the weigh-ins, being on weight, for the weigh-ins, making sure you have your book, as an amateur, making sure you have your book, as a pro, having to do the urine test, having to go and get your physicals. As a matter of fact, I had to drive from where I was at to come. I had to go to Bridgeton for that's not as far as here, but you got to do all that stuff. So yeah, so you have to the isolation thing is. It is what it is, man. In order to be successful, man, like I tell a lot of the boys, man, it's the guys that separate themselves. They go through that sanctification part that stand out. It's not the guy that's following behind Rashid, Rasul, Tamara, and Kelly. It's the person who stayed by himself and went to school, learned, and now look at him. He's working for Microsoft and doing Microsoft things or whatever. So that's what it is. I mean, boxing, skating, billiards,
What or how did you get to the point of this here?
I had to beat people up.
But I mean, now here's the thing, because I'm gonna tell you, I'm looking at this belt, man, and I said, my God, it had to have taken more than what we could imagine.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about not just the physical part of it, because the physical part, yeah, I got to do this. And listen, I'm just not. I'm not. I'm talking about the mind, conditioning the mind.
Well, as far as my mind being conditioned when I was here, that's how I was able to obtain that. I conditioned my mind. I was in my word. I was more diligent. I was more diligent with with him, learning him, and sure enough, he opened things up, man. Like it's just one thing after another. Small little hiatus for a little bit, then right back to the goodness. So, when I was focused on him, understanding him, doing his work, and what's silly is I didn't see, like, now that I'm older, I look back at what I was doing, and like now how I'm seeing it and how I want to and how I know I have to do it and how everyone should do it so they can be successful in whatever it is they want to do. They got to be like Christ, man. Like you have to be. it's more than just being good. You know, it's more than just like the yin and the yang and karma. You know, it's more to it than that. You know, I can't be as transparent as I want. You know, but that's what it comes down to. It comes down to just being nice, man. For a lack of words that really express what I'm thinking. Just being like Jesus, man. Turning the other cheek, giving,
But see,
caring.
and that's here's the thing, because when you talk about doing that, I know when I was coming up as a kid, my grandmother and my mom always said, don't initiate it, don't start it, walk away.
Right.
And I know when I was coming up, there was a thing that we used to do as kids. We used to take a stick and put it on our shoulder,
Back on
and
our
whoever
shoulder.
knocked the stick off the shoulder,
Yeah,
then we
fight
get
'em.
busy. And then once it was over, we shook hands. We were friends again.
Right. Right.
Now, the picture now has taken another turn. It ain't doing that no more.
No, they're
So
shooting
now what
guns
they're
now.
doing now is instead of pushing the stick off the shoulder, they're shooting each
They're
other.
shooting. They're beating each other up real bad.
Yeah.
And like a lot of kids like I work over in the high school, and we
man.
like as a matter of it's all kind of like as a matter of fact today or yesterday. I think it was today. It was either today or yesterday. It was a fight over something silly. A big guy. He wasn't a big guy, but a more dominant boy picking on a lesser boy. And they're all confused, but the majority of the kids are all confused. Like they have the wrong mindset. I'm not blaming anyone. Nothing like that. However, the world, our media. We all know this song. Our media, the stuff that we're allowed to do, the video games and all that. That's what allows our kids to think that it's okay. I was listening to. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go.
No, I was listening to something today, and he was talking about the norm. Like we consider, we got a new principal who came in, and she's changing things in school, and the kids think that like the boys in school, they have their pants below their waist, the girls have their bellies showing, they have their jeans cut up. Now I do the cut up jeans, but not like as much as them. And what's happened is that's become the norm. Like the norm from back in the day when I was younger is not the norm now. And I'm pretty sure the norm that was for me back in my day for you is not the norm. So what's the norm now is not the norm. But but the world has had to be okay for it to be the norm. The cussing and everyone saying, the N word, I'm talking about, and the B word. Like, you don't talk to your friends that you care about like that. You shouldn't show love by saying that word. Just say I love you.
Well, now it's like, I remember when I was in class and a teacher asked me, and I just had to shut it down. I said, the words that we talk about, that has a vulnerable effect, not just spiritually but to the mind.
Yeah, it goes deep.
But now here we are again, because now, like I said, we're not even talking about this anymore, because they've gotten past the boxing. Now, boxing was an era where people could redesign themselves from getting into a lot of mess. If you have a talent doing this, then I'm going to show you how to perfect it and make money at it.
Right.
And they're doing this. And I believe now what's happening now, because even not just with boxers, basketball players, baseball players, football players, the money has to some degree drove them crazy.
Yeah, it's changing.
I believe they're saying that money is the root of all evil.
Yeah, that's
But we needed to sustain ourselves in life. But I look at this here, man, the accomplishment that you took, that you did, that you got past the barriers, all these things that have taken place in your life, because to extract yourself from your children, from
Yeah.
the one who born your child, your parents, your friends, to achieve something, man, that you knew meant a lot to you.
Yeah.
And here it is.
Mhm.
So now that you have this, how do you talk to a kid, or how do you redirect his thoughts or his behavior and say, if this is what you want, this is what you have to do? How do you tell them? How do you talk to them about that?
Well, what I do is I show them the belt. I bring the gloves in to the group that I run every Saturday from 11 a.m. until 1 p.m. at the Stanley Holmes Community Room in Atlantic City in the Third Village. I bring that in. I bring in my boxing equipment. We go through a boxing workout. We do fun things. And like basically I give the guys what I stand on, where I come from. Is like, hey, you know all the things that you want that you can't have and your mom can't give it to you? All right, well, one day your kids might want the same thing that you want now, but of course it'll be 10, 20 years later. And because of your choices now, make up your tomorrow, and then you can't do the things you need to do to get the money and things of that sort to take care of your kids. So I tell them, hey, you know how you feel? Don't have your, children feeling how you feel, because I know with my children, I put them through some things, and I've always, then I put them, and not put them through some things at all. And I just, I can recall stuff that I just didn't want to, like, not having the best shoes. I had XJ 900s, you know what I'm saying? Like everyone else had Nikes and Adidas. I had XJ 900s, but so I don't want to not give my son a pair of Nikes. Like now, of course, I'm not gonna pay like $400 for a pair of shoes. Don't get that twisted. But I'm gonna get him a nice a nice pair of shoes. So with stuff like that, how I tell, like that's what I tell them. Like you want the new PlayStation, you want that, right? You can't have it, right? Because when your mom's not working, your dad's not around. Okay, great. Why your dad not around? Okay, boom. So now you know what not to do. Okay, your dad is around and he's working, he doesn't have a job, whatever. Because he has no money, he can't. And same thing for mom. So I just I offer them and I give them what they have right around them that helps them see what they can have. And then I show them what I did accomplish. Mm-hmm. Like I go on YouTube a lot and I pick up, well, not a lot, but when a kid brings it up, like kids who know me from the PAL, because I still go there. Kids who just know me just from the barbershop about boxing, and it's brought up. I go and I show them what I did, man. And like, oh, wow, you did. I'm like, yeah, man, like, don't think I didn't go to the gym. Don't think I didn't, have to learn to read the contract, make sure I was reading the right kind of contract. To make sure I wasn't doing my math so I can get my monies, things of that sort. So that's what I try. That's what I give. I give them just the reality. I give it to them in layman's terms. I don't try to be real sophisticated. I don't come like a teacher, because they're in school 5 days a week. They don't want to hear me.
See, these kids now, you have to be so. I was talking to some friends of mine, and I said sometimes you have to meet people where they are.
Right.
Sometimes, because you can be here.
Right. And
sometimes you have to descend yourself.
Yeah, you do.
You have to come down to the level where they understand,
or they won't hear you,
and they're not going to hear you.
They're not going to hear you.
And it's just like we're talking about now. We're going spiritual, because it's just like church. We can minister and we can talk the gospel. We can preach the word of God, but if they're not hearing, how can they hear without a teacher and a preacher?
Yeah.
Now here's the thing. How do I get the people to understand what God is talking about? Not me, God. I have to descend myself to the level where they are, that they can understand. Yes. I don't care who they are.
Right.
Because everybody's not going to pick it up the way that we pick it up.
I know. And you know what's so silly? I don't know if you guys ever heard the Yanni, the Laurel and Yanni thing. Well, it's a thing on YouTube. Is a one girl. She was in school taking a test, a reading test, or some kind of music test or something, and the computer said, "What's this word?" And she said, or she typed in, it said YANI, and it was supposed to say. She said Yanni, and it said no, it's not. She didn't say what it was supposed to say. So long story short is she ended up contacting. She contacted, and out of 100 of the people who've taken it, like 80% hear Laurel, like another 10% hear Yanni, and the other percent hear something different. And it's pretty funny because I hear the Laurel, my Uncle Lee hears Yanni. Yeah, it's crazy. And my uncle, I love my Uncle Lee. That's my man. And but it's weird how different people. So yes, you have to come down, even though you're saying something in plain English that you perceive it to be plain English, doesn't mean that the person is fully understanding you. So sometimes, like, I'm a behavioral assistant as well, and I do the mentoring. Like you said, you have to come down and use their terms. Like, when I talk with the kids, I use their terms,
What I want you to tell the people now, I want you to tell them in so many words what they need to know. How can they, if they have a child that has the desire to do what you've done, what God has given you the gift to do, how can they get in touch, or who they need to get in touch with?
Well, you can contact me, Shimon Alvarez. You can catch me at new Shimon Alvarez 41 at yahoo.com. And you can also contact me by phone. It's way more easier at 609-892-3675. And also, you can reach the Brother to Brother program and In My Care mentoring program for the girls at 609-289-3964. And the mentors that we have with Brother to Brother and with In My Care mentoring, we have good mentors who can come down to the child's level to help them see, hey, go to class. Hey, study. Hey, don't wear your dress like that. Hey, don't wear your pants like that. So that's the beginning part. So you want to get them in that environment. So a young boy, he wants to box. A young girl wants to box. Oh, I love wrestling too. I used to wrestle at Acre Township High School. I love wrestling. Wrestling's the bomb. I could have been so much more better. And if I had a mentor or a male around to like give me something, Mom did what she could, but so anyway. So
do me a favor. Hold that belt up for the people.
Okay.
So they can see your accomplishment. Ladies and gentlemen, this is my brother Shimon. His accomplishment that not only that he did through vigorous training, but what God has given him the authority and the gift to do. So if you have a child that has the desire to box, to train, the extensiveness, to be serious about the craft, to want to be one day professional, here it is. This is what you have to, this is something you look forward to. This is something that you have to strive for. Yes, sir.
And then also, and what's important for me was the men at the PAL, Coach Mike, BJ, Arnold, Howard Hurt, they were, so it was the men, you got to get them around the men that will, cover them, take care of them, guide them, whatever whatever word you want to use to describe what has to happen. So, if it's a Boy Scout place, the Boy Scouts, if it's the PAL, PAL. If it's wherever it is, you know. So overall, a young man that wants to wrestle or box, which are the two best sports in the whole wide world, and pool, you know, get them around the environment, get them in like for wrestling, high schools, middle schools. There's little peewee, not peewee leagues. They call them I'm having a brain fart now. But, you know, get the little guys rolling around. Get the guys to the PAL. Get the guys to the Explorers. Get the guys, you know, just get the guys out. You know, get them involved in activities, you know. It could even be bowling. I mean, that doesn't matter. Overall, I think that if they get involved in a sport and they go the way I went, you know, and just getting that word and try to understand the word, what they're reading, they can end up being whatever they want to be and whatever they do. They could be a Cheetos pretzel factory guy. I'm being serious, man.
Yeah.
You know, it's not always about being a rapper or a football player.
And they looked at that. They look at that stuff.
Yeah, I mean that's
You know,
that's sort of kind of the
stuff,
problem. That's sort of kind of the problem.
They thing is, man, you know, music and if they can something that's going to get them to the level of life,
right?
You know,
and you know what? And you know what? A lot of guys. If anyone's listening, you know, tonight, tomorrow, whenever you listen, hear what I'm saying. Let the kid get into doing hip hop, Christian music. My friend does. Oh man, man, he got some jams, man. Oh man, Chris. He has some jams, man. Like they're down to earth, cool jam. If you played it in your car going down the street, no one would even realize that it's a
Christian
gospel song unless you listen. Like, you know, of course unless you listen. So like that young kid who wants to be Jay-Z, you know, Puffy or whoever, you know, those guys, they don't have to be those guys. They can look up. I'm having a brain fart now. His name is the young brother. He's a rapper, musician. He's real heavy in the gospel rap music. They were just talking about him the other day. I'm totally forgetting his name. Like, I know his name, and I apologize.
That's okay. That's all right.
But so I mean, just get your children, get the kids, man, because the reality is, like, you know, I'm halfway done. You know, he's halfway done. So who's going to be here doing what next?
That's
you know?
and that's true.
And then
that's true.
Yeah, and what are they going to do?
So
yeah,
I thank everybody. This has been one of the most relaxed moments for me tonight, and I'm definitely gonna have you back.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
I'm definitely gonna do that. So
you know,
please keep that in mind, because keeping time wise, I just want everybody to know that in life, no matter what it is, no matter what your mindset or your spirit and your heart has that you want to do, you can do it. You just have to achieve it. I want everybody to know that I love you guys. And whatever I can do that God gives me the power to do, the door is open for the platform for you to come on Iron Sharpen Iron Men at the round table to discuss, to let the world know what it is that God has given you to do and what you look forward to passing on to the next generation. This is Iron Sharpen Iron Men at the round table. I'm your host, Minister Kevin Britt. My co-host is Pastor Eric Zetlin, my pastor, my brother, my friend, and my extraordinary guest tonight, the one and only ex-champion boxer, Shimon Alvarez Jr., my man. Senior. Okay. Forgive me. Senior. Get that right, y'all. Senior.
Yeah.
Not junior, senior. I love you, man, and
I love you
we will have you back.
Well, I'm hoping to bring Miss Austin, Shalanda Austin, and have maybe your wife do her on the sisters, because
once we do, you'll talk to my wife, and my wife will hook it up with her, and she can come on her show.
Yeah, that'd be
and
great.
We'll hook it up. We'll hook it up. Maybe we'll be you and her and my wife will be on the set.
Yo, that'd be so hot. That'd be so hot.
Ladies and gentlemen, we thank you again for tuning in to Iron Sharpen Iron Men at the Round Table. Again, I'm your
Thank y'all.
host, Minister
Thank you.
Kevin Britt.
Thank you,
And
guys.
again, I always say this at the end of my show: don't hesitate, but donate. Cost you nothing. Peace.
Peace.
Mix up culture with the kingdom. Yeah, man. This that new summertime anthem right here. This how we do for the kingdom.
Now we more swagged out, bossed out, better men get the devil out.
We mix up culture with the kingdom. We mix up culture with the kingdom. We mix up culture with the kingdom. Mix it. Mix it. Mix it. Mix it. We mix up culture with the kingdom. We mix up culture with the kingdom. Yeah, made new, done with the old. I'm a walking lyrical scroll. No manuscript, this a godly script. I see she.
You've been listening to Catch the Fire TV, CTF TV, a place where gospel and God's word is heard.